morning, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to the channel. I'm Deborah. This is Purusha Intuitive, and we're going to just do a current energy check-in. So this week's been a little bit chaotic for me in terms of content and video uploads. We got all of our zodiacs up, thank goodness. But unfortunately, my baby's been sick, and you know how that goes if you have kids, right? So I wanted to just check in. We are in the middle of Aries season. We've just begun. We actually have 2 new moons in Aries, which I think is very beautiful. It's a great remembrance that we kind of have like 2 opportunities to start fresh. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac cycle. It represents fire, our sense of self, our ambition, creativity, and really it's setting the stage for how we are going to show up in our lives, meaning what are the action steps that we're going to take to make our goals, our dreams, our desires happen. If we are living this life, we might as well enjoy it, right? So with that in mind, let's look into, so this is more of an energy of focus on yourself. It's a great time for self-care, getting to know who you are, getting really intimate, having those reflective moments, journaling, meditation, reading something inspirational, you know, practicing your hobby, whatever that may be, creating, etc. So with that being said, right, we're not as worried or concerned about our outside environment. And it's been kind of an interesting dynamic as I've been working with clients in my own life. That's what these collective energies are all about. You still have to deal with and navigate the outside environment. But I think the name of the game right now is really making sure that you're showing up for yourself in honesty, integrity. I mean, as always, you know, but even more so right now because the energy is being amplified, right? Okay, so very beautiful. This lavender energy comes out, right? It's a lot about peace and tranquility, finding that balance. It's very healing too. You know, if you're familiar with herbology, aromatherapy, lavender, it's a universal scent. That's the coolest thing about it, is for the most part, everyone can handle it. You know, I'm sure there might be some, you know, people that can't, but you know, sorry, I trip over my words. I should stop making my disclaimers, right? But it's healing, right? It's taking that time, extra rest, extra self-care. And it's such a beautiful plant. It smells lovely. There's, you know, lavender mists, you know, hydrosols that you can spray in your environment that really kind of just enliven that beauty, that peace, that essence. And all of that stuff is really going to help you kind of make your way, right? The gecko is, you know, it has this element of determination, figuring out the path. It's seeing what sticks and what doesn't. And the things that are sticking, the things that we're all different, right? We all have our own different interests, perspective, etc. And when we, you know, indulge in the things that are working for us, that are actually what we want, that make us excited, happy, passionate, etc., that actually is where we find more balance and more healing. I love that. Aurora Borealis. Neil Young's one of my old school favorites, if you're familiar. But you know, this is so magical, right? It's like one of the magical wonders of the universe. If you've ever had the pleasure to see the Northern Lights, it's amazing. You know, it just reminds us how infinite and vast. And I love that for you because it's like reminding us that we have there's endless potential. There's endless creativity. There's this endless well that we can dip into at any moment. And that's like kind of the excitement and the adventure of life. There is an element of trial and error, but it's coming from a space of inspiration, you know, kind of provoking that curiosity, the ideas. And it's so beautiful and amazing to see which each individual comes up with. It's allowing us to, with the dust card, so that does talk about closing out, right? I mean, especially with, when I saw that there was 2 new moons in Aries, so new moons are all about setting our intention, our manifestation. Like I said, it's kind of like 2 jump starts. And it's such a beautiful metaphor for the time, season of life that we're in right now. Because it's like, we got to evaluate it at the first new moon. The second new moon is towards the end of April 20th, I believe. So it's like we get the opportunity to reset those intentions again. And we're a little bit more prepared. That's what this is all about, right? Remembering what sticks and what doesn't. And with that dust card, I feel like, you know, there might be some dark nights, you know, moving through this month or couple weeks, the next couple weeks. There might be some things you encounter that make it really challenging and difficult to look at. But if you are honest with yourselves, it brings so much abundance. It brings the magical into play, which I love. Yay. Okay, good energy for the day. It's soft, right? It feels to me like it's setting the stage, setting the foundation. Going back to that concept of really focusing on your wants and your desires, right? Like not letting the energy burn out too quickly. The Knight of Wands is amazing at taking steps. The immediate energy, he's like the first guy on the scene, you know, but not always the most stable. So we have Wands energy is fire, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You could be dealing with someone who has that sign, or it's also just really talking about someone who embodies it. To me, he's a guy who's incredibly youthful, very vivacious, you know, maybe a little bit too pushy, a little too prideful and arrogant at times. But there is this element of the 3 of Pentacles, so wanting to work together, wanting to work as a team in the midst of a lot of the chaos. And if this is not with someone specific for you, then it's just connecting to that part within yourself. If you feel like you're in a lot of upheaval or something happens today and it totally blindsides you, that's what the Tower is all about, right? The unexpected. It brings in the disruption, but it's a blessing in disguise because something hasn't been working up until this point. You're taking time, a step back to really focus on yourself, to heal, to grow, to evolve. You're being really disciplined about how you're showing up, which is beautiful. The Emperor energy is Aries. It's also like the quintessential masculine energy, right? It's like putting our plans into action, making things happen. And yeah, from that space of maybe it's been a lot, maybe it's taken a lot to get here. Especially if you're dealing with someone, you know, who's not as mature as you, right? Someone who maybe doesn't get it 100%. That can be like kind of annoying. Takes a lot of patience, right? But the beauty of the Emperor is he sees it for what it is, right? And he's able to kind of make decisions accordingly. There is this element of, and maybe what I'm hearing for some of you, maybe this person is trying to save it from falling apart. But the way you're seeing it is, well, it is falling apart. You know, it already has, or it's in the process, or it's about to. What I love is that Three of Pentacles energy is the central focus. So it's basically saying like, there is a way to work through it together. But again, you're not working with someone as mature, as clear in their understanding of what's happening. I love this Hierophant energy because it goes back to what I was talking about in the very beginning, connecting with, you know, that part of you that is moral, integrity, etc. And I'm not trying to say be straight-laced. I'm saying it's like, you know, we all have like our belief system, you know, like the higher principles that we live up to. That's what this Hierophant is all about. And here it's Chiron in astrology that is considered the wound healer. It is an asteroid that bridges the gap between the inner planets, which deal with our physical world, our day-to-day, and the outer planets, which are more esoteric, our spiritual, you know, our life evolution, that type of vibe. So all that to say, you're really working from that space of integrity. And it's hard. I don't think it's like easy because the Nine of Wands is, you know, it's finding ways to self-protect, but not being defensive. Still knowing who you're dealing with, knowing what you're dealing with, knowing how to communicate, being the better person, right? Maybe not saying that thing. It doesn't need to be said or in that way. And that's not always easy, right? It takes a lot because we love telling people what to do. I think it's recognizing where people do limit themselves. You know, sometimes we do have to take a step back. It's really easy to take things personally, to think it's all about you or, you know, but this does really talk about someone who struggles to move forward, who doesn't know how to be as diplomatic about what's happening. 222 on the clock. 2 is partnership, but it's also tension, you know, frustration when we have to kind of make a decision whether we know what we're going to get or not. This is Earth energy. So it's interesting to me. It's like there's this need to be more grounded, but I feel like this is coming more from whatever you're dealing with. Take time to be patient, more patient. Aries, fire energy is really quick tongue, quick-witted, can be sharp. So be mindful, right? How you're communicating, what you're saying. Like I was just saying, it confirms like, you know, don't run your mouth. Don't let it get the best of you. This person is not stable. They're not balanced, or the situation. It's having a hard time coming together is what I'm hearing. And it's going to still take more time. So you're not going to specifically get what you want, even if someone is selling it to you. And granted, this is just for the energy next couple days. You know, current energies, right? So Page of Wands is the need to, yeah, like I think look beyond, look for options. Something's holding this dynamic up. I also feel like, I don't know if there is a lot of options to be had right now. We have 2 pages. So it's like this need to kind of explore a different approach. And maybe that's what you need to communicate. There needs to be closure. That's why. I mean, I feel like this came up in a few of the zodiac energies this week. It's stressing you out. You're holding it together, which props to you, you know, easier said than done. I think that is coming from your sense of structure and balance. If you've been really kind of plugging into that energy of just doing your due, you know, and focusing on yourself, taking care of yourself, It's definitely showing. I feel like this, like I said, I mean, that comes up a few times. This is a stressful dynamic, a stressful situation. I feel like this person, yeah, is having a really hard time, like, letting go of where it's at and where it's moving towards. And that's the thing, right? There's other options. There's other approaches. Maybe they just don't want to know it. Maybe they don't want the information. You know, the Knight is usually arrogant. He thinks he knows better than what he indeed does, you know. And this new beginning is coming out. Yeah, I mean, it's coming out of a lot of pain and sadness, but it is choosing to walk away from what doesn't fit, right? And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about with what sticks and what doesn't. If the vibe isn't there, then it isn't there. Yeah, it's similar energy. It's both fire energy. You know, there is connection, maybe some element of synergy, etc. But it's not balance. There's not reciprocity. And I feel like this person that you're dealing with, this situation that you're dealing with, is refusing to see other options, other ways of going about it. Because they want what they want, right? They want it to look a certain way. Their pride is getting in the way. It's a little arrogant as well. All right, so I'm going to actually read out of the book. These are these crystal cards that I just love the messages. I think, I don't know, we're at 17 minutes, so I think I'll just pull one. I think that should be good. Okay. How to navigate. Let's look at that. Like, so we know things are shifting and changing. We know it's actually putting us more towards what we want, what we desire, what we're manifesting. Whatever you had manifested with this person, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. Not always the easiest, but you do see it for what it is. And I think that's the silver lining. Try not to let it stress you out too much, you know, really simplify the amount of time, interaction, etc. Because it is coming to a close. And I honestly feel like everyone involved knows that. It's just actually when it happens. And all you can do in the meantime is really just focus, again, on you and what you got going. Yeah, we'll leave it at one because you know I love to talk. I love the golden healer. So beautiful. So sweet. This is such a, you know, it's such a powerful energy because it really does kind of connect us with the higher chakras. And that basically means that, you know, like if you believe in spirits, angels, spirit guides, passed over loved ones, etc., that's basically meaning that we're getting that energy from the spirit world to heal, to grow, to evolve beyond. This looks like it was a really weighty situation for you, right? So we have that 9 and 10 of Wands. I'm so sorry, guys. Never fun to like deal with this type of stuff, but it is healing. And I think it's just having confidence and faith in that. So, in this book, yep, just in case you want to know, it's great. I love it. Okay, so the golden healer is called the ultimate healer. Ultimate healing. It's imbued with powerful, transformative healing energies that are catalysts for profound spiritual activation. So super cool. It's such a great time to connect with manifesting, or the meditation is what I was going to say. Any type of spiritual practice, right? Setting aside time, drawing a card, lighting a candle, praying, journaling, whatever that vibe is for you, you know, doing a little ritual ceremony. There's so many ways to kind of add sacrament to that in our day-to-day life. And we've really, in modern culture, moved away from that so much, right? So the self-understanding is the quantum world helps you understand yourself. The everyday self is bounded by 5 senses, expanded by the 6th, metaphysics. But this can be transcended to move into a field that is non-local, transcendental meditation, everywhere and nowhere at once, where there is no time. You create the event being observed. Allow your soul rather than your ego to be your guide. Such a true, well, and that's the thing about fire energy, back to this Emperor Knight of Wands. We can totally let our ego get the best of us when we're vibing in that space, like I was talking about during the reading. So the divination of this is recognize your potential to be an amazing healer. Your abilities need honing, and those who heal our soul are scoured to develop empathy. Yeah, so like developing empathy in the difficult situations, in the places where we have to swallow our pride, where we have to kind of like be the bigger person, you know. Much in your life needs transforming. Surrender willingly to the process. Someone clinging to the past holds you back. This guy, 111 on the clock. Encourage them to let go. You may be asked to transform your environment or take a challenging task. Do so with grace and ease. I love that. Healing flows through you. It is a process, not something you do. So profound. So I love that. I mean, it was just validation all across the board of what this reading really spoke about. And if you feel like you can't have a conversation with this person about like letting go, you know, kind of separating, doing some cord cutting, you know, maybe even just having more boundaries in the physical world, you can always do that energetically too, right? You can call on spirit, angels, guides, however you understand it. Even just your higher self, right? The Atma, the true self, the one, right? It's all about what resonates for you. And when we ask, that's when we receive the assistance. It's so easy. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this message today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I always love and appreciate the support. Big thumbs up. Drop comments below. Let's build and grow the community. Love and blessings to you always.